So good afternoon to all present over here. Myself, Dr. Raghavendra Patidar, Convener, Institutions Innovation Council, Global Institute of Technology. Again, welcomes to all audience present here. In the continuation of first session Impact Lecture Series, sponsored by Ministry of Education Innovation Cell, our today's second Impact Lecture is on Design Thinking and Innovation in Startups by Mr. Puneet. The sole objective of this Impact Lecture is to develop necessary knowledge and skills required for organizing and carrying out new innovations by entrepreneurial activities. So design thinking basically is a process for creating problem solving. Design thinking has a human-centered approach. It encourages organizations to focus on the people they are creating for, which leads to the better products, services, and internal process. So by not taking so much time, let's start the second Impact Lecture by introducing our next speaker, Mr. Puneet Datta. Mr. Puneet Datta is currently Chief Executive Officer at Atal Incubation Center, Manipal University, Jaipur. He has also worked as a Chief Operating Officer at AIC-Manipal University, Jaipur. He has also associated with Mentor for Change and Atal Innovation Mission. He has also worked with Startup Oasis as Executive Operations and City Lead Head Start, that is a joint initiative of DTE and Startup Oasis. So I am pleased to welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Raghavendra, for the opportunity. And I'll just try to make this session a little bit interactive. If the students can use a chat box, because it says don't be shy, start chatting. So I'll imply that only. I'll quickly share the screen and we just go ahead. I hope the screen is visible.
Perfectly visible.
Okay. So today's topic is design thinking and innovation. First of all, we'll go through what is innovation. Whenever there is a term called innovation, ideation, right? These are the prime terms when it comes to entrepreneurship or the startup ecosystem as in general. So everyone is looking for ideas. Here's a pictorial representation on how nowadays the students or the entrepreneurs are looking for ideas. But innovation is something new which creates value for others and which captures value for the business, right? कुछ नया जो दूसरों के लिए वैल्यू क्रिएट करे और हमारे लिए वैल्यू कैप्चर करे. So innovation versus creativity. We might get confused with these terminologies: innovation, invention, creativity. So creativity is just a generation of new ideas. We have been listening from our school days and now in college days that this is a very creative student because they have an out of the box thinking. But innovation is converting those creative mindset into some outputs. So here it is written that invention is the creation of new idea and concept, but innovation is turning that concept into commercial success or widespread use. When that creativity or that invention is called innovation when it is commercially successful or it is widespread. Now we look out of innovation jugaad. So India is all about jugaad, right? And it has only two parameters. So we have to keep it simple and we have to do more with less. Right? When we find a center force of frugal, flexible, and inclusive, we get a jugaad. And India is the pioneer in jugaad. So I'll ask some of you I have some pictures with me which you guys have to identify that if it is a jugaad or innovation, right? So feel free to write in the chat box, is this an innovation or a jugaad?
Participants can write their answer in the chat box. Shubham said Jugaad.
Jugaad. Right. So I guess because I have to share the screen also, you can interpret from the student side. So what is this? This is a cooker attached to a normal gas and soldered to make a coffee machine. What is it? A jugaad or innovation? Similarly, this is using a press, iron press, and I guess most of you are in university and colleges. You all have tried making Maggie on this apparatus at the hostel. This is also one of the jugaad. This is one more jugaad. This is they have removed the petrol tank and used a plastic bottle filled with fuel as a tank. This is one more innovation. You might have seen Mr. Bean in his movies using this jugaad. So they are using a pant to the cooler so that both of the rooms can get equal air supply. This is, I don't know you guys have tried or not, but this is also a jugaad. And now we talk about innovation. So a simple jugaad which can be used in a proper way and can be scalable is innovation. So water mixed with bleach, and when the sunlight hits it, it acts like a 55-watt bulb, right? This is an invention. The fan with this coiling is an invention. This is invention, right? Nowadays, if you have been seeing movies on Netflix and every other, when a scene of office setup comes, this is the treadmill, office treadmill that is now in use. This is one of more inventions, so that after urination you can wash your hands and that same water can be used. Now we'll move forward to what is design thinking. So design thinking is a process for creative problem solving, right? We have been studying about it. We have been knowing these lingos that about design thinking and everything. Now we'll go in deeper dive. So it has mostly 6 parameters, which is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, implement. You all have heard about these terms in your day-to-day activities also. So they might not be in a specific order, but this is the preferred order. We can go or jump back at any time from any of the pointers, right? So if we take an example of empathize, right? You have to solve a problem, right? Then you have to empathize with the users. कि वो problem किसको है, right? Then you have to define it, because वो प्रॉब्लम आपकी है और किसकी है, उसको टैकल कैसे किया जा सकता है, उस प्रॉब्लम को डिफाइन करना पड़ेगा. फिर यू आइडिएट, राइट? Because most of the time it happens that this is my idea and this is the best thing, but you have to improvise it, right? Then you go for prototyping. Prototyping is a scratch model with the resources available at your end. You make a prototype out of it, right? In this case, they are asking they can make a PowerPoint presentation, right? Then we have test. So the prototype that we made, we test it to the audience which we think is our customer segment. So if you are let's take an example of boat. Everyone is aware about that. So what boat has seen that there are headphones which is available in white and black color, right? And the cost of those earpods and AirPods are very high because very little companies are making that, right? So they empathize with the college going students, which are their audience, right? Those initial young professionals, right? So they empathize with them, they define their problems because there's scarcity of good headphones available, trendy headphones, right? Then they ideate, they prototype it, because if you know the history of what they came up with, a simple headphone. They tested it around the market for quite some time, and then they came up with new models. Now, if you go on to their website, they have thousands of products, right? So they test it out, their single product with a target market, which were college students, and then they implemented it and they start working on it, right? So design thinking, we say it's a non-linear process, because as I told you earlier that we this is a process where we start with empathize and end with implementing it. But at any given point of the time, we can switch it back. For example, we empathize first, then we define it, then we think there's a little bit gap is there, then we again empathize it, then we define, then we ideate. When we ideate, we made a prototype, and when the prototype was made, we think these are the few flaws that we can change. Then we again ideate, right? If not, we can again start with empathizing, and then we test it and implement it. So first, it came with empathize. So it is basically your deeper understanding of your target market, the user, the end user, which will be using your products. So consolidate what you do and don't know, connect with your audience, careful research, right? Observation, asking questions. So when you start making any other product or any other college project at your campus, you always go to the faculty and ask them question about how to develop this product, and will this project be a successful? If I make a GPS sensor, is it worth it or not? These are the basic research. If boat has to, because when Uber came to Jaipur, they started with Sitapur industrial area, because there were most of the IT sector and IT companies were there, right? So they research for it, because most of the user who can use Uber, who will be the customers of Uber, will be then IT professionals using the cabs, and they connected with them. They shared some initial discount coupons with them to make them it a habit. So this is everything goes with empathize, because they empathize with an IT professional who has difficulty getting his ride in the morning and in the late evenings. So this is an empathy template. So if you have any of the problem, you guys can fill your answer here, and you will be very clear with the empathize mapping. In the next slide also I have an empathy map which I will be sharing with Raghvendra sir, and he can share it with you all. Whenever there you see a problem, the first step is to empathize. So if you can fill that template, you will be very clear in your mind that what is the problem you are solving. So the main thing is, who are we empathizing with? In the case of boat, who are they empathizing with? With the those college students, those young professionals, right? Then what do they need to do, right? So what do they need to do? Those students were looking for trendy headphones, right? What do they see? They see two available options, either black or white color earphone at a very hefty price. What do they say? Uh, they say that we have to buy these AirPods, but not at that big of a price, right? Then what do? They either they save money to get a 20,000 rupees headphone, or they adjust with a cheaper one, right? What do they hear? They hear in the market that about the quality, the specs, and everything of those trendy headphones, which were cost heavy at that time. And what do they think and feel, right? This is the feeling where every startup pitches in, because they want to the students or those young professionals wanted to get those hefty airports, but they cannot. So this is the parameter where any of the startup with its customer segment pitch in. This is the empathy map. This is so simple, self-explanatory. I'll share it with you. So second, we go with define. Right now, we have empathized with our customer segment. Now we have to define our user's problem. Right. So we try and revisit the unknowns, and we convert those initial research that we have done into artifacts, and we try to tell it through a story. We generate problem statements, and we record everything that we have, and this process goes on, and this is not just for the one time, and it goes every time, because you are generating problems, the researches are coming on, right? This is a simple map, or this is some of the parameters when we do it. So we ideate, we amplify good and eliminate bad. So after the survey, when we ideate, we get to know that these are the good things, these are the bad things. So we eliminate the bad things and we amplify the good things. We make it our USP. We explore opposites and questions. We analyze. We identify unexpected resources. There, if I have to make a cheaper headphone with a premium quality, what I have to do? Do I have to export it from China? Right? We have to ideate that process. The process starts in this phase. Then you might have heard of this scamper technique. So if you have not, this is what you say. This is a ramban for everything. So whenever there's a product that you wanted to introduce to a market, this is the first thing you should go for. So let's take an example of specs, the lenses that I'm wearing. So what is the substitute for it, right? What can be the substitute with? So can I change the material of it? Can I use a fiber in it? Can I use plastic in it? Can I use a flexible material in it? Right? So these, what can be the substitute? We have to write it down for our product. This time we are taking an example of specs. So second is combine. So we put different components together and improve a project. For example, can we add a separate additional product? Let's suppose we can use a nose cushion or ear cushion. The people who wear specs for a long time can be it can be very useful for them. Next, adapt. So we update the product to new customer preferences, because now if you have seen Lenskart and everything coming on, the user is asking for new things. So we have to adapt for it. Maybe we can change the design of it, make it lighter, something like that. Then modify. Change how the product looks in its appearance and presentation, right? So we can modify it. We can make the specs bigger, lighter. We can add maybe a back ring cover or something like that, right? Put to another use. Use a product for a purpose which is it was not designed for, right? Specs is designed for either for your as a sunglass or as an eyewear glass who has a problem facing difficulties with their vision. But what can be the another use? If you have heard of it, now these big brands are coming with an additional speaker facility, right? Which uses sensor so that you can use your specs as an headphones. Geo glass is coming, which can use AR VR in your specs, right? This is one of the another use. We can eliminate, get rid of the parts that are actually almost useless or not valued by clients. So what we can eliminate, there might be an extra screw in there which can be eliminated. There's an extra band which goes behind the ear and it is too long for some of the users, that can be eliminated, right? Then we reverse the process. Then we deconstruct the whole product. We remove every part of this and we will rethink, and then we'll again join it. So we'll get a different altogether model. So I request you all, maybe you can take any of the problem that you have, make a group of 2 or 3, not during the session, maybe afterwards, and can try for this. The next step is prototyping, right? Now what we empathize and ideate, we'll build it. So we are building the potential solutions for our customers. So we'll keep the user in mind, that what are their needs, right? Plan the scope of testing, take action, and again fail first, because prototyping is not a one-time process. Because once you make a product, you test it, and then you again reiterate it, and this iteration process goes for quite some time till you are comfortable with the final product that you have made, right? Then the right tools and the right fidelity. So for a single process of prototyping, there may be multiple tools required. So that has to be recorded and questioned for every time we are testing that, so that we can map our progress. The next is test. So this is next step to prototyping, when the final product is made. So in the startup language, we also use the term of minimum viable product. So minimum viable product is mostly the final prototype that we have made, which can be given to the user, right? So when our last prototype is ready, we identify the users, because for both they identify few college going students of different areas, because geographical location also matters. So they uses 5 students in Jaipur, 5 in Mumbai, 5 in Delhi, 5 in Kerala, and they test it out with it, and they go through the research and everything. The solution was tested, right? The results were iterated, and the retesting is going on. So all that part is covered in this test parameter. So the next is implement. So it is more about how, because you have done empathizing, you have ideated it, you have made the prototype, you have tested it, and you are convinced that it is now, the product is ready to go into the market. Then you make some guidelines. Every time you buy a boat headphone or a spectacles at Lenskart, you always get a small guide or a paper which we never read. So they have this guidelines and implementation and everything. So that is not necessary. Now implementation, your product, how you launch your product, the designing, the aesthetics, right? So that is all there in the implementation phase. How it will be in a package, will there be an additional charger in that, in the box, everything is implemented in this final parameter, right? Then we deploy a measurement framework, we continue to learn and iterate. So since now the boat is now a very, very big company now, but still they continue to learn and iterate, and this process goes on. So that is the major difference between a startup and a business, because startup business model is never the same. They always learn from the mistakes and they iterate the model every time. So then we update with the expert guidelines that we get in the market. So this is the basic design thinking process that we cover. Now we'll break for some questions, and then if you need anything to be explained again, I'll happy to do that. And this is where you can reach me out and clear your doubts. So thank you.
So students can write their question if in the chat box if having any question.
96100 96100 77944 96100 779.
So I hope you guys are at least clear with the concept of Jugaad and innovation.
Please write in the chat box. Participants can write in the chat box if having any question and queries.
Great. So Raghuvendraji, I hope the next session is of business model canvas. I hope when you plan, because it will
Okay,
connect
sir.
most of the parameters of design thinking with business modeling canvas. Then these guys can uh, start their own ventures.
Yes, sir.
Guys, any questions regarding the process of design thinking? Empathize is clear. Ideate, prototype, test. What is the last one?
Ola writing, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please ask any question if you have any doubt or any query regarding the topic. So one question
Yes.
is from Rohit Chaudhary. Sir, it is safe to start startup as being fresher after 4 years.
So I'll give you an example of what the setup is in Manipal also. So a startup in first year, because I have been to a lot of universities and being a part of their board council. So this is the question that will arise a lot of time. So during the first year, the startup starts with a full enthu, and when he reaches third year and fourth year, they tend to move to up the placements, because these are very hefty, good packages that they come at their end. Then they work for 2 years, and then they drop and again work with their startups, right? So I'll recommend it to start early, because if you are in a university setup, you can start it right now, so that you can fail early, and there will be whenever you graduate after 4 years, you are already a established startup. So we have to start lean, Badal. To answer to your question, so I hope everyone is seeing or not, but I'll quickly go through his question also. So Badal asks, see, sir, but the starting the setup, we get into some losses, right? So I'll give you example of a lot of startups in the college setup only. So recently, one of our startup second year student, the startup name is Bugbase, Bugbase. It's a bug bounty platform. So one of the founder is from Manipal University, Jaipur, and one of the co-founder is from Manipal Institute of Technology in Bangalore. So they both started a bug bounty platform with scratch, nothing in their end. They have a few friends who are good in website making and app development. So they made a basic website, and they were helping the small companies getting removing their bugs, and they are providing this benefits to all the bug bounty players outside, right? So they recently have got a funding of rupees 1 crore from 100x VC, right? Post that, this is the story of the 8th month back. Yesterday only, they have got a funding from 2AM Ventures, which is $500,000, which is close to 4 crores. And this is the journey I have seen from their last year. They started from scratch. They do not invested any single penny from their pocket just to design a website. They might have taken a domain and a server. And server we also facilitate from them from AWS as our partner. So they started with zero, and now they are so big. So I hope, Badal, I have answered your question.
So any more question from the participant side?
Okay. Guys, any more questions? Anything you wanted to ask? And how to start? If there is any family pressure you are feeling, any pressure from the faculty, you have to open it. And now because MHRD and Ministry of Education is helping it so much, pushing it so much, so it's the best platform with guidance with Raghuvinder ji. You guys can start it, and whenever there is an issue, I feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to help.
Yes, sir.
Should I drop my Instagram, this LinkedIn ID? It will be accessible with everyone.
Yes, sir.
If you have any questions after the session, also you can just drop me a message there, and I'll be happy to help.
So no any more questions are there?
Great, then maybe a few of the students will connect on LinkedIn and ask us there, so it's okay.
Okay, sir. So it's okay. Yes, sir. So thank you very much, sir, for this enlightening session. You well explained about the importance of design thinking in innovation and startup. I assure you that this session will be really helpful to motivate the participants for entrepreneurship and startups. Also, thanks again for giving us valuable time for this impact lecture. Also, very special thanks to all precious students and faculty participants who make this session meaningful. Also, a feedback link has been shared in the chat box. After submitting feedback form, you will get the certificate on your mail within 2 days. So, thanks to all. Have a nice day. Good day.
Thank you so much, Raghuvinder ji. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir. I'm ending the session. Thank you, sir.